The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the security footage played across the holographic display. Ambassador Theknor's mandibles clicked nervously as he watched Commander Lyra Denton walk calmly toward the Korthax breeding den, her sidearm conspicuously absent from her hip. "This is madness," Theknor hissed. "The Korthax are apex predators. Their cubs alone have killed trained warriors." But the human commander didn't hesitate. The den entrance yawned before her like a mouthful of shadows, and she stepped inside without breaking stride. 47 minutes earlier, the situation had been desperate. The Korthax mother had died defending her litter from poachers, leaving 6 cubs trapped in a collapsing cave system on Theta 7. The cubs were starving, terrified, and extremely dangerous. Every species in the galaxy knew the Korthax code. Approach a threatened cub and you wouldn't live to regret it. 3 rescue teams had already failed. The Vraxian soldiers, with their impenetrable armor, had retreated after the largest cub, later identified as Wreck, had somehow found a weakness in their joint plating. The Selenite diplomats, masters of psionic communication, couldn't penetrate the cubs' fear-maddened minds. Even the synthetic rescue drones had been torn apart by tiny claws that could rend steel. Commander Lyra Denton had volunteered for what everyone assumed would be a suicide mission. But she'd insisted on one condition: no weapons, no armor, no backup. "Humans are predators too," she'd said simply, "but we're also something else." Inside the den, the darkness was absolute. Lyra's eyes adjusted slowly, her human biology switching to low-light processing. The cave reeked of copper and musk, blood and fear. She could hear breathing, 6 distinct patterns, ragged and quick. They knew she was there. "Hey there," she said softly, crouching low to make herself smaller. "I know you're scared. I know everything hurts right now." A growl rumbled from deeper in the cave. Warning. Threat. "Stay back." Lyra didn't stay back. She moved forward slowly, her hands visible and empty. In the dim light filtering from the entrance, she could finally see them. 6 pairs of luminescent eyes, each set burning with a mixture of terror and defiance. The cubs were magnificent, even half-starved and traumatized. Their natural grace was evident. Korthax adults stood 8 feet tall with muscle density that put Earth's great cats to shame. These cubs were perhaps 3 feet, but their claws were already formidable. The largest cub, Wreck, positioned himself in front of his siblings. His fur was matted with dried blood, some his own, some from the Vraxian soldier he'd injured. He bared his teeth, a warning display that would have sent any sane creature running. Lyra sat down cross-legged, making herself vulnerable. "My name is Lyra," she said. "I lost my mother once, too. I was older than you, but not by much. I know what that hole feels like." Wreck's growl faltered, confused by this strange creature that spoke but didn't attack. "I'm not here to hurt you," Lyra continued. "I'm not here to cage you or study you or take you anywhere you don't want to go. I'm here because you need help and because—" She paused, her voice catching slightly. "Because nobody should die alone in the dark. Not when someone can prevent it." She reached into her pack slowly and Wreck tensed, ready to strike. But Lyra pulled out only food. Protein bars designed for human consumption, but with a nutritional profile close enough to Korthax requirements. She'd done her homework. "It's not much," she admitted, breaking the bars into pieces and sliding them forward. "But it'll help." Wreck didn't move. His siblings whimpered behind him, their hunger a living thing, but he held his ground. Protective, responsible, so terribly young to carry such weight. Lyra understood that too. She'd been a commander at 23, leading people through a war that should never have happened. She recognized the look in Wreck's eyes, the burden of being the one others depended on. "You're doing a good job," she told him, "keeping them safe, being strong when you're scared. Your mother would be proud." Something shifted in Wreck's posture. His ears, which had been flat against his skull, twitched forward slightly. "But you don't have to do it alone anymore," Lyra said. "That's what I'm offering. Not replacement. Not taking over, just partnership. Let me help you keep them safe." She extended her hand, palm up, fingers loose. A human gesture of peace, of trust. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then Wreck's nose twitched, scenting the air. He took one cautious step forward, then another. His siblings watched, tense and ready to bolt. Wreck reached Lyra's outstretched hand and sniffed carefully. His rough tongue touched her palm, testing, tasting, understanding. Then, in a gesture that would be analyzed by xenobiologists for decades, he pressed his forehead against her hand. Acceptance. The other cubs surged forward, their fear finally breaking against their hunger and need. They devoured the protein bars while Lyra stroked their fur, murmuring soft nonsense words that transcended language. She checked their injuries, her field medic training kicking in. Cuts, bruises, dehydration, but nothing fatal. They would survive. Okay, she said once they'd eaten. We need to get out of here. The cave's not stable. Can you walk? Rek chirped, an affirmative sound. He turned to his siblings, making a series of clicks and growls. Pack language, family code. The cubs formed up, still wary, but willing to follow this strange human who'd sat with them in the darkness. The journey out took 20 minutes. Lyra moved slowly, letting the cubs set the pace, always staying close enough to help but far enough not to crowd. When the smallest cub stumbled, she caught him gently, holding him until he could walk again. The galaxy watched as Commander Lyra Denton emerged from the Korthax den. She walked calmly into the light, and behind her in a single file came 6 cubs. Rek walked at her left side, his head held high, his siblings following his lead. Ambassador Theknor's mandibles hung open in shock. Impossible, he whispered. But there it was, undeniable and real. A human had walked unarmed into death's domain and emerged not as a conqueror, but as family. Later, when asked how she'd done it, Lyra would shrug. Humans aren't just predators, she'd explain. We're pack animals. Social creatures. We adopt things, anything really. Dogs, cats, wolves, even prey animals. We see something hurt and alone, and our instinct isn't to kill it. It's to fix it, to help it, to bring it into the pack. She'd smile then, that peculiar human expression. The galaxy sees our weapons and thinks that's what makes us dangerous. But our real superpower, it's that we look at 6 terrified cubs in a cave, and we don't see threats. We see children who need someone to care. Rek would stay with Lyra, eventually becoming the first Korthax to serve in the Human Diplomatic Corps. His siblings would return to their people, but they'd never forget the human who'd sat with them in the darkness and offered them light, and the galaxy would learn a new lesson about humanity. They were indeed predators, fierce and capable of terrible violence when needed, but they were also something far more dangerous, creatures who could turn enemies into family with nothing but patience, compassion, and an open hand.